Hello, Fully Fitters. This is Coach AJ, and you're watching a new episode of Living Fully Fit. We haven't touched this subject in a while, and we're going to look at fully fit relationships. Think about this. We all go through different various times in our life where we go through different kinds of relationships, whether it's friendships or our family or our significant others, our dating relationships, our coworkers, people we meet in passing even. And here's the question when it comes to relationships: how do you view others in a different way? What we tend to do is we put on certain goggles, so to speak, or we put on different lenses, if you may, on how we see people, how we judge people even so. And a lot of times these lenses are based off of our previous experiences, our past hurts and pains, our nuances, our expectations even. And I beg to ask the question is, are these nuances, are these expectations, are these past hurts really something that we should be wearing on our eyes as we look at people? Or should we take off the blinders, take off the scales off our eyes and look at reality? It's time for a reality check when it comes to relationships. And I'm gonna start off with, how about those passing relationships? People you just meet on your day-to-day. A lot of times when we go to the store or we just see people in passing, our first inclination is to judge, right? We see people and we see them for how we view them. We're prejudiced. Almost every person is prejudiced to some degree. And I'm not talking about racism, I'm talking about prejudice. I'm talking about how you see people based off of something you have learned or grown or observed or experienced in your life. So when you go out to the store, like for instance, Walmart, and you see a screaming kid with their parent, your automatic assumption is, what a brat, that parent just spanked them. Maybe you don't realize, maybe that child is autistic and is overwhelmed with all the stimulation. And your quick assumption is, beat that kid, right? And it's wrong. Again, those scales in your eyes, that idea of how you think things should be and how you perceive the world. So that's one way to see it, right? Or maybe that cashier who's giving you some lip or some attitude. Maybe what it is they're having a rough day. They just got a phone call that their significant other is leaving them, or their grandma just passed away, or they have this huge bill they can't afford. So they go to work, and it's hard to turn work and personal life off sometimes. Some people do that very well, but there are others that don't. And so you have to ask that question is, what are they going through? Maybe I don't judge them right off the bat and call the manager. Maybe I give someone a little bit of grace. I guarantee you, when you start looking at people through a different lens, then your entire experience of relationships changes. So we'll go for the passing by relationships to, let's coast up to friendships, right? Our friendships. Now, think about this. Our friends come and go. There's some of us that have friends that we've had since childhood. I've never had that experience really because, I was a military brat, so we moved a lot. I still keep in contact with some of my childhood friends, but I would consider them my best friends in the whole world who I can just lean on all the time. We've grown apart and then we connect through social media, right? That's what happens, tends to happen at least. But think about this, through our friendships, whether it's someone you met at work, you become best friends with, or whatever it is, our friends are connected through something that we have in common, a commonality, But a lot of times our friends disappoint us because, again, our friends are human. And what we tend to do is, just like we do on social media, we defriend our friends. We unfriend them and say, okay, I don't want anything to do with them, based off of certain things especially. I'll give an example. On social media, you see this a lot. People will unfriend you based off your political ideas. Do our political ideas make us who we are? No. And a lot of times they're just opinions. They're thoughts that are, hey, here's what I think of it. And we're in a very polarized society when it comes to politics and economics and socialism and all these things and capitalism, all these different constructs. And what we tend to do is we tend to make a dividing line in our relationships based off of something like that. Instead of ask the deeper question is, why do they believe and understand it? And even if you don't agree, you can still agree to disagree and still meet in the middle somewhere. There has to be some kind of agreement somewhere. Like, ask the question is, do you believe in just love, peace, being good to people? Those basic ideas and thoughts and values. There has to be some kind of value that you can connect with. Don't just write someone off in your life because of some kind of disagreement, some kind of different idea or thought. So here's the reality when it comes to friends. Friends are imperfect. None of our friends are going to have the exact same mind as us. If we have friends like that, that's just boring. You should have friends from all kinds of diverse groups. Some of my best friends that I can lean on have different ideas than me, have different thoughts than I do. Two of my best friends I made in Japan, I'll give an example. Two different spectrums of idealism, right? One is very liberal, one is, more moderate, and here I'm a little more conservative, but we were the best friends. We hung out. And what's funny is we would talk about politics here and there, and we would argue kind of jokingly with some banter, but we'd come back to the middle, realize there's more commonality than there is division. And that's what we have to do with our friends, is there's more commonality than there is division. We have to find what those commonalities are, what those things that bring us together are, and focus on that. And don't let the things that are divisive divide us. Well, then let's get to family, right? Family. Again, it's the same thing with family. Politics tends to be the contributing factor. Disagreements on how we raise our kids or how we were raised or what was hurt, how we were hurt in our past. The past is the past. And I'm not saying some things, yes, it's hard to let go of. I get that. But the past is the past. You have to move forward. You can't keep regurgitating what happened before and what hurt you before. Yes, let it out there, find healing and restoration, and move forward. Don't keep bringing it up again. When it comes to family as well, think about this. Parents, as you get older, your kids will notice something. Do you play favorites with your kids? Is there that one that you reach out to more than the other ones you don't? Think about that. I look at my own life and I look at my kids, and there's a delicate balance of the kid I get along with the most versus the kids I love equally. And I have to make sure that balance is lived by. And so my challenge to you when it comes to family is being there, leaning on them, but also reaching out to your family, reaching out to your friends, reaching out to your loved ones, being a solid rock, not only just reaching out when you want something, when you need something, but reaching out just because you care. That's how you build a relationship. Well, here's a big one for a lot of us, right? Dating. Significant others, right? Now, this is a tricky one because we make a list a lot of times, a mental list or a written list of what we expect and what we want in a relationship. And we're not going to always find that. And there's always going to be disappointment that follows with that, right? Because, again, we're humans. We're imperfect. But here's a dividing line. You should not settle, but you shouldn't over-expect either. Again, a balance of settling versus high expectations that are unrealistic because that person is human. They're human. They're going to fail you. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to hurt you. But here's the thing. Again, don't settle for someone who mistreats you deliberately, who talks down to you deliberately, who abuses you deliberately, who all the things that can be negative that can destroy you as a person. But then when it comes to relationships and dating especially, before you even dive into it, you have to know yourself and be comfortable with yourself before you're reaching out to that significant other. A lot of people go from dating relationship to dating relationship to dating relationship, rushing through the motions of it, thinking this is what they want and what they need. And a lot of times, they've never really delved into themselves and said, okay, who am I? And how do I find solace in solitude and perfection and understanding in then myself before I latch onto someone else and expect them to fulfill me? If you're looking for someone to complete you, fulfill you, they'll never will. Because again, we're human. You should be fulfilled and complete by yourself. And what you're looking for is someone who can complement you, someone who can add something into your life that you don't have, that you didn't realize you had, who can convict you, who can challenge you, who can strengthen you, more than you already are. I'm not talking about someone who can be your crutch. I'm talking about someone who can be your wingman or woman, whatever, right? And that's the thing. When it comes to relationships, we have to throw away all expectations and open our eyes, take away expectation, take away our past pain, and open our eyes to the reality of the person, the situation, whoever it is we're trying to develop a relationship with. And what are you doing? Is it you maybe that are having the struggle with your significant others or your family or friends or coworkers or whatever it is? Is it always, it's always them, it's always them. Think about this, if it's always them, it's probably not them, it's probably you. You probably close yourself off. You probably have this, resting, what face, right? All the time. Maybe it's you that have pushed people away. Maybe it's you who have created these high expectations for others that they can never meet. Maybe it's you who don't reach out to your friends and family but are wondering, why isn't my family reaching out to me? Do they not care? Well, do you reach out? Well, I don't get why my coworkers don't invite me to parties and stuff. Well, maybe because you're the negative Nancy at the parties. Maybe you're always gossiping at the parties. They don't want to be around that. Think about those things. As you're looking at relationships as a whole, instead of pointing the finger outward and wondering why all of your relationships are always falling apart and failing, is my mom and dad, is my boyfriend, girlfriend, or it's this and that, or it's the coworkers at work that don't like me for whatever reason. But have you really looked at yourself in the mirror and said, okay, wait, hold on. It's me. And that is my challenge. Ask yourself, is it you? Because a lot of times it is. It is us. And we have to look back inside and realize what we need to fix. Again, take those scales off our eyes, look at life and people through a different lens, and look at ourselves through a different lens. Look at us in a way that sees the reality of how we treat people, how we interact with people, and what we expect out of people. When we do that, then we'll see a healthier development of relationship in our lives. And I guarantee you, as you start living your life like that daily, looking at people with a different lens, you're gonna see healthier relationships come your way, and you're not gonna see the same pattern displayed in your life. I'm Coach AJ, and you just watched another episode of Living Fully Fit Relationships. Take care. If you like what you watched, make sure to subscribe down below. Subscribe, like, share with people. Share with someone you know and you care about. Maybe you know someone who's struggling with relationships, maybe back and forth with dating or whatever it is, or struggling with their parents, I don't know. But share it with someone. Subscribe, share. Also check me out on Facebook. Just type in Living Fully Fit on Facebook. And there you'll find some great content, conversation that will help you grow and help others you know grow into what it means to live a balanced and more living fully fit life. Thanks for watching.